Hi folks, welcome to the Candidates Forum. I'm Dave Gallus, I'm your host today. We're here with Carol Cooper, who's running for the School Board District 5 in Las Cruces. Carol, welcome back.
Thank you, it's a pleasure to be here.
Good to see you again. Our theme is going to be Hope for Our Future, which is our children, and the school board, the citizen's voice. Now that's interesting. So I think of the school board, I think of students, but tell me about the citizen's voice and how important that is in the school board.
Well, the schools in the United States were not ever intended to be from the top down. The schools were an outgrowth of the needs of the citizens, and school government is not, it just is not a function of the Congress, for example. That it is not one of the enumerated powers. So right from the beginning, the education of people's children was either for the states, and that was planned for because land was given to the states to pay for public education. But through the Constitution and our state constitution reflects that too, education is largely meant to be controlled by the citizens and the state.
Wow.
So yes, citizens, we definitely have a place. We are the ones who are closest to the students. And so we should be a part of the decision making, the policy making for the policies that govern how students are taught, and what the goals of public education should be.
You said something very interesting when you led off there, and it was about when you said government and schools, and it's like, no, the schools are not government.
Right.
And if there is any government, like you say, it's got to be from the citizens themselves. So you're not talking just parents. You're talking about the whole community as a whole.
Exactly. We citizens, each one of us, has a desire for what we want our society to be like, what the community we live in. I mean, we design our streets and houses and where a shopping center is and so on. We have a perception of what, or an idea of how we want to live. And among those things that we really we do live with is the idea that our children will, I think all parents, maybe from creation, we parents have wanted to have our children have life better, more or at least as fulfilling, and maybe more so than we have had. We want life to be better for our children. We don't want chaos. We don't want poverty. We don't want war. We have these ideas, and so it is. Those ideas. What we're doing is helping to prepare through schools. We help prepare that next generation for life, and so we want to get it right in our homes with our children. We want to teach them everything we can about being a good parent first,
sure,
and providing for our families and. Being kind to our neighbors and helping them if they do need help, and not being surprised or being grateful when they help us. Those kinds of values we want to pass on to our children, and for them to use those values to help them gather together the situations they need to fulfill those values.
Well, it sounds like it starts in the home. The parents want their children to succeed. Maybe they don't know how to do that, and that's where teachers help out. Maybe in our case in New Mexico, you have people that are immigrants, and they might need some help. Parents might need some help too, but I'm sure they have a desire. And we talked about this in the first show about when you were going to school, you had children whose parents didn't speak English, and yet they knew how important it was for the children to speak English, even though
and
their
to get a good
did.
education.
Well, sure. I mean,
overall education. Read and write and do all the things.
Right. So
that would prepare them for being to having a good standard of living.
Oh,
they wanted better for their children than they had.
Sure.
Yeah.
What parent doesn't want an independent child? I mean, and I hear these stories, the kid's 35 years old and he's living in his parents' basement. That's a scary thought, and that probably happens more often than I'd like to think.
I have friends who have their 48-year-old children coming. I'm old enough to have 48-year-old children.
Oh, geez. Okay,
My son
you've
is
admitted
48.
it.
Yeah.
But look at all the experience you've had.
But we don't want that. Because the fact of the matter is, some of us are going to go on to be with our Lord soon, maybe pretty early. So we want them to be able to take care of themselves and their families.
Well, if they're not working, they're not going to be paying into my Social Security, so I'm not going to get Social Security. So, no, that's crude. But anyway, okay.
So long story short, citizens have a right,
a vested interest,
a need to be either themselves or be represented. But they need to be at the table.
Sure.
When policies that affect public education are made, and
but where do you find that? How do you get citizens involved? Is there any such thing as an advisory board that's made up of citizens?
Well, we don't have one currently, but that may be a way to operate. But I'm not certain of the reasons. I think that there have been messages, possibly even deliberately given out through through various mediums. I'm not sure, but I think that maybe citizens feel like. This I can't understand why people want this policy, but they're the educators and they must know more about it. I think that we sell ourselves short as to how much light we can shed on the problems that we exist and the possible solutions for the problems that exist. So I have no pride whatsoever. Do not be surprised if I come to your door and beg and plead with you to appear and tell me what policies you like to live with and which ones you don't want us to live with.
Okay.
I want every one of us to be involved, and for the benefit of students, that what we provide through our public education in Las Cruces, New Mexico, are the finest learning tools that they could have anywhere.
Wow.
We can do that.
Yes, we can.
The people in our community are a lot of very well-educated people, and people who have, with their high school education, have developed wonderful businesses, and they have contributed significantly to our community. And
sure.
Did I say the last time we talked that I have often felt like that had I had to leave school at 6th grade, I was prepared. I had learned to read. I had learned to write. I loved to read. I liked numbers, mathematics, and so I have been able to do most of what I do and have done in my career. I would have been able to do that with if I had to stop at 6th grade.
Can you say that of 6th graders now? Certainly not locally, I don't think.
I don't think so. Some of them, sixth graders who have had their parents see to it, parents and teachers not let it go. If they haven't learned a skill, they stick with them until they do learn it. Sure. Because some skills are harder than others, and so if you learn that skill, the next step is not nearly as hard. But sometimes the further steps are nearly impossible if we don't have those basic skills. So I certainly we need to have as much education, but the kind of education and where we get it, the better the foundational education is, the more we can do.
Building blocks.
Those building blocks,
yeah,
you bet.
Sure. It makes sense.
And so we want to, as citizens, see to it that our students have all of those building blocks, and we have tenacious teachers who see to it that we get them.
I've heard from teachers that they have this common core that they have to follow, which is, I think, a federally mandated education testing. And it's like, it's almost as if these children are just learning to take tests instead of thinking. So I don't know how much the teachers can say about that. I don't know how much the citizens can say about that, or maybe the school board, but it seems like it's way out of whack. I
have an idea, but I really do need to have more information about it, and maybe some of you citizens know more than I do. I've been asking questions, but it's not as easy to get to those answers as I would have thought. But anyway, but I have an idea that these some of these ideas are coming through the federal funds, and if you accept the federal funds, then you have to do these certain things, or you have to maybe make decisions about those certain things, and that might preclude teachers being able to be candid about the experiences they're having with them. But I would say that as citizens, we need to be at the table when funds are, when we are applying for funds, and we need to know the strings attached, if there are any, and we need to know all about it before we sign on the dotted line that we want to be a part of that.
I hear you. Well, we're going to take a short break, folks. We'll be back. Stay tuned. We'll be back with Carol Cooper, School Board District Number 5, Hope for Our Future. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. There you go.
So great. You do all these different gears in the plan.
Okay.
Nice.
Guys, not all. Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here.
Make yourself a beautiful home.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Hi folks, welcome back. We're here with the Candidates Forum, and Carol Cooper is running for School Board District 5 in Las Cruces, and her theme is Hope for Our Future, which is our children, and the citizen's voice. So we have citizen involvement in our school board, which is something we desperately need in our education system, rather. Carol, we were talking about the Common Core. I had heard issues with Common Core where the federal government will dictate what is to be taught, not allowing the children to learn how to think. They're told what to think. So to me, it's like a bait and switch, where the government's going to give you so much money, but now the government's going to tell you what the curriculum's going to be. That's a scary place to be.
It is, and I haven't been close up enough to it to know just how it works. So before we talk about that too much, I'd like to have more facts.
Okay. I mean, to me, it's a theory.
But you know, I firsthand, for example, I have seen with mathematics in the instruction concepts that are just almost impossible for parents to grasp.
I can attest to that. I went through that with my son.
Okay. And the next part of that is, I suspect, because parents that do have a hard time with it, teachers ultimately have been instructed, don't involve the parents in this. That maybe we're more trouble than we're worth. But I think that we ought to know about those kinds of things before we make any commitment to accept, the commitment to Common Core. Part of the commitment was a lot of testing that has driven. I mean, I don't talk to teachers at all who don't complain about it. It's too much time preparing for a test and not enough time for real instruction.
Sure.
And not the same kinds of things that, well, okay, so if we drop the ball here, parents have been teaching, and so maybe the kids are going to get it. We don't necessarily know that.
Right.
It's in new different stuff. You hear rumors like history is being downplayed in the Common Core programs. So we need to know a lot more about it. And citizens, I mean, I don't think that we should have another day taught without investigating. Now, the issue of the constant testing. I heard from a professor at the university recently that the testing that goes with Common Core has been dropped. I hope that is the case. Sure. Because definitely teachers need more time for instruction. not testing. And there's concern about the use of those tests. What do those tests show?
That's a good question.
And you know, what do we learn, and how can we improve teaching from those tests? We don't know about those things, and I think that a very thorough report about you know, what Common Core is trying to accomplish, and how is you know, the rationale for the kinds of instruction. I think we need to know more about it, and frankly, I think citizens should have been involved in those decisions a long time ago. Well, I mean, Common Core now has been around for how many years?
Well, my son is 28, and when he was in elementary school, I can remember him coming home with his math, and I said, "What the heck is this?" He would average, I believe that's what it was, and you would kind of guess at an answer almost, and then you would refine it and get back to the true answer. And I said, "Jason, look," and I would do it, long math, bang, I had the answer. He's going through all these steps. And I said, "What is this?" He said, "Well, this is modern math." Yeah, and I went and talked to the teacher, and the teacher said, "Our hands are tied. We have to teach this. We don't approve of it, but we have to teach it." It's like, why? So when you're talking about citizen involvement, we're allowed to question whether or not this is the right thing. And when you talk about federal money being spent, first of all, if we give our tax money, our federal money, to the federal government, and then they in turn give it back to us for our education, what is that about? If we want the education money to stay, it should stay within our state, and we make the decisions. You send it to the federal government, you're involving another bureaucrat to make decisions about our education system when we can make it ourselves.
And the regions in the United States are different. And I think that it is ill-conceived to have the federal government. I personally.
Well, you got to wonder what's the motivation.
You know, we need to be very close to what's being taught in the schools, and our schools need to be very close to us, because we know our children best.
Sure.
And teachers get to where they know students very well too, but they don't have the stake. Nobody else has the stake in their children
as a parent.
Yep. So we need to be involved in decisions about curriculum.
Well, okay, this is the dark side of what could be happening. The federal government is now giving us our money back that we gave them for our children's education, and they set the standards for this education and the curriculum. What if they're teaching our children something we don't want them to learn? I mean, that's a scary proposition. And
I absolutely think that's why we need to know what they are anticipating doing, and to shut it down before it really gets institutionalized. You know, commonplace. If we don't feel it's right, we need to say so.
Absolutely.
But we have to know in the first place.
Is there such a thing as a PTA anymore, Parent Teachers Association? I don't know, but that certainly should be part of it. If we don't have one, when you get in on the school board, will you bring that up, please?
Yes, I will. And I think that, you know, teachers, if we are coordinated, and I really think, frankly, I think that we ought to look, the administration, our legislators, we all need to look at ourselves as a community of educators. We all have an impact on our students, and they are the next generation.
Sure.
So if we goof it up, if we do not give them what they need, we have defeated the goal that every parent brings children in with, is that they have a better life than we've had.
So we have a vested interest as parents and as citizens to get our generation ready for the world to come out, our younger generation ready for the world.
We do indeed.
Well, okay, so where does the money from the federal government end up in the schools? Does it go for teachers? Does it go for the students? Where does it go?
I think that we have more, the greater percentage of money, I believe, is going to administration as opposed to the classroom. And those teachers,
Are they getting paid enough?
they don't think so. And
Well, I can't think of a better, more important job.
And let me say this: I'm not sure that it's the local teachers who I don't think they whine about it, but I will say that when we want to hire teachers, from the best teaching school, best teaching schools. Those teachers who are very well qualified are going to other states because we don't pay our teachers enough, and they don't want to come here. Then when they get here, or when a teacher becomes a teacher in New Mexico, there are not enough teachers really, so they have large classrooms, and the opportunities, the what do you call it? The percentage of success is not as great.
And
if you have a few students and you can devote time and you can pay attention to where they are succeeding and where they are not succeeding and remedy it, you've got a recipe for success.
Well, Carol, it's I don't know how the time went so fast, but we're coming to the end of the show. So if folks want to help you with your campaign or want to make suggestions, ask questions, where can they get a hold of you?
Okay. They can reach me on my cell phone, 575-644-1790, or you can email me at clcooper1946 at gmail.com.
Well, thank you, Carol. It's been a pleasure having you.
It's been my
folks,
pleasure.
This will be back again next week with Carol Cooper, School Board District 5 here in Las Cruces, the Candidates Forum, and stay tuned for next time.
I am Carol Lynn Cooper, and I approve this message. Carol Cooper, Treasurer.